Hello everyone. Good afternoon to all my dear students. The first chapter of sociology is Introduction to Indian Society. Previous online lecture is based on Introduction to Indian Society. First topic of this chapter is Ancient and Medieval India. The chapter is historical perspective is concerned to religious study to Indian Asian society. The first point of this topic is religious beliefs and practices. Religion is one of the dominant aspects of Indian society. Indigenous tribal communities would have had their own system of religious beliefs. Tribal belief system is based on references made in ancient religious texts. For example, Vedas, Upanishads, Nirukta, Chandas, etc. As far as Harappan civilization, figurines of the male god, mother goddesses, and animal deities have been found. The tribal religious belief system is related to animism, totemism, Manaism, and naturism. What do you mean by animism? Animism means animistic religious belief system. For example, some animals, trees, thunders, rivers, sea, mountain, etc. is believed by the tribal people. It is called as animistic animism. And the second one is tribal belief system is related to the totemism. Totemism means totem is some object. For example, totem pole, ancestors, lion, tiger, tree, sun, moon, etc. And another one is Manaism. Mana means supernatural power. For example, sun, moon, earthquakes, floods, moonlight, etc. And tribal people believe in these powers. Next one is the second point of this topic is Hinduism. Hindus' way of life. Indian society is influenced of Hinduism as far regard the Hindu way of life. There are many literary sources that shed light on beliefs and practices of the Vedic period. Some are written and some are oral tradition. For Hindus, the Puranas and Dharmashastras laid out to a code of conduct based on law of karma. Karma means action, which is also known as the law of cause and effect. The famous phrase related to this, as you sow, so shall you reap. It means Hindus believe that the good deeds receive a good fruits. In Hindi, अच्छे कर्म करो ज़रूर अच्छा फल मिलेगा. ऐसा ही इस पंक्तियों का अर्थ. The soul is trapped in the bondage of birth and rebirth. Now the four aims of Hindu life is Purusharthas. Four Purusharthas in Hindu social system. First one is Dharma, doing one's duties by following the path of righteousness without the expectation of reward. Second one is Artha. Artha refers to acquisition of wealth through the path of righteousness through hard work. Through hard work. Kama is a third aim of Hindu life, sensuous pleasure or sexual union through the path of righteousness. And the last aim of Hindu life is moksha. Moksha is ultimate goal of Hindus. Moksha means salvation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Next one is early Vedic period. Scholars have suggested that society is in the early Vedic period was less rigid. Vedic period with respect to the occupation-based division. Over a period of time, however, the rigidification of varnas into a fixed, closed system of stratification emerged. This came to be called Jati. The Jati system was anchored in Brahmanism that suggested that hierarchy was subsequently based on the principle of purity and pollution. This means strict endogamy, excessive ritualism, and the emergence of boundaries of the inclusion and exclusion. Next one is Jainism and Buddhism. Both are contemporary. But why they emerge in Indian society? What are the reason behind it? The reason is the background of Brahmin supremacy. There emerged the philosophies of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautam Buddha. Though both initially belongs to the Hindu fold, they rebel against excessive ritualism, animal sacrifices, and social-based hierarchies. Their teaching got established in the Indian ethos as Jainism and Buddhism. Now, the Jainism is believed to have a very ancient origin. The religion is said to have been rebuilt by 24 Tirthankaras, of which Vardhaman Mahavir was the last. Similar to the Hindu doctrine of karma, Jain teachings are also based on the theory of karma. However, ahimsa means non-violence and tapas means penance are the important and integral components of the Jain way of life. Vardhaman Mahavir did not speak of God in his teachings, but he emphasized the state of nirvana. The 24th Tirthankar was Vardhaman Mahavir, 23rd Parshvanath, and the first Tirthankara was Rishabdev. Rishabdev preached the principle of Jainism is first one is ahimsa, means non-violence, not hurting anybody. Satya means truth or honesty. Asteya, not to capture other things or not to steal. Aparigraha, curtailment of worldly or material things. And Vardhaman Mahavir preached the ahimsa as a principle of Jainism, not to sacrifices animals in the yajnas or any things. Ardhamagadi is a common language spoken by Jainism, and Agamas is a famous sacred text of Jainism. Two sects in Jainism, one is Digambaras and another one is Shwetambaras. Digambaras means sky clad and Shwetambaras means white clad. Now the next religion is Buddhism. Jainism and Buddhism both are contemporary. The right of salvation was no longer limited in a particular stratum of society. Buddhism, with its less rigid rules and regulations in comparison to Jainism, was embraced by many. Buddhism thus spread far and wide, even beyond the boundaries of India, because of patronage of the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. As a missionary religion, Buddhism spread to foreign lands like Tibet, China, Japan, Mongolia, Burma, Java, and Sri Lanka. Even today, India is considered a holy place and the source of their religion by these countries. Jain and Buddhist sanghas for religious learning were established. People who chose the ascetic way of life. The most significant contribution of Buddhist culture was found in the form of Mauryan art, Gandhar art, Mathura art, and stupas, caves, and monasteries. Their most important contribution to literature was in the form of Tripitaks, which one is in Pali. Buddhism's two sects, one is Hinayan and another one is Mahayana. Hinayan means lesser vehicle and Mahayana means greater vehicles. And another one is already founded and one emerged, Vajrayana, which comes much later in the 8th century. Buddhism gave a great importance to the moral upliftment of human beings and directed people to lead moral lives. It insisted on virtues like charity, self-sacrifice, control over passion, and non-injury in thought and action. These virtues are also advocated in Upanishads and also widely practiced through the Buddhist way of life. Over a period of time, Jainism and Buddhism also split into sects. That is, we are already discussed. Now, the medieval period. We will now pick up the stand of religious practices and beliefs in the medieval period. We saw several religions come to India from outside. This includes Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and later Zoroastrianism. The Sangam period, which one is 6th century BCE to 3rd century BCE, 3rd century CE, is the period of history of ancient peninsular India, which approximately the present day Tamil Nadu and Kerala states. It is named after the famous Sangam academies of poets and scholars entered in the city of Madurai. Religion played a milder role during the Sangam period. Both ritualistic and supplicatory aspects of religion were practiced by the Sangam people. Rituals were related to animism, and other forms of deity worship. Tree, stone, water, animals, stars, and planets were worshipped. The Tamils of the Sangam age were aware of certain spiritual and philosophical truths. They believe that life is distinct from body. While life can function independently of the body, their entire philosophy of ancestral worship and reincarnation, etc., was related to death and the afterlife. Now the next one is Zoroastrianism. The roots of Zoroastrianism is found in the Middle East region. Persecutions of the people of this faith brought them to the western coast of India near present-day Gujarat, into which they culturally assimilated. Zoroastrianism is the only outside religious community that still practices endogamy. It did not permit conversion into their faith. Also, entry into their fire temples are restricted to members of the community. People of Jewish Judaism, but on or before, the Zoroastrianism is one of the world's oldest and continuously practiced religion. It is centered on dualistic cosmology of good and evil, means heaven and hell. Their sacred scripture is Avesta, in which it is stated that the supreme creator is Ahura Mazda, from whom Asha, means cosmic order, originates. Fire and clean water are agents of the ritual purity. 5 temples are their place of worship. The holy flame was brought by priest from Persia to Navsari in Gujarat. And the sacred scripture is Zend Avesta. Now the next religion is Judaism. People of Jewish faith are believed to be one of the early foreign religions to come to India. They came with the Harbi king Solomon's merchant with the purpose of trade. Conversion of the people in Kochi to Judaism led to the identity of Kochi Jews. Till today, the Jewish synagogue is found in Fort Kochi. The number of Jews have dwindled in Mumbai too. There is a small community of Bene Israel Jews, and it is believed that some tribes in Mizoram too have a Jewish identity. Jewish people follow the Torah, which include the books of Old Testament of the Bible. Judaism is a monotheistic religion. They believe that the Mashiach, means Savior, is yet to come. The Holy Sabbath is a sacred observance of Jews. You will recall that the Jewish people were the most persecuted community in human society and human history also. Now the next one is Christianity. It is in the 1st century CE that Saint Thomas, an apostle of Jesus Christ, brought Christianity to the shores of Malabar in South India. Miss Saint Thomas and Saint Bartholomew both have come in Malabar in South India. Followers of Christ came to call a Christian. The local people who converted to Christianity, then they are called the Syrian Christian. Christianity is also a monotheistic faith, and like Judaism, it holds a linear view of life. That means people believe that they have a one life. Their life on earth determines if they will go to heaven. The essential foundation of the Christian faith is the principle of love, and Christians believe in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, their Savior. The impact of Christianity is especially notable during the colonial period. Next one is Islam. Even though Islam is first came to India in 8th century, the impact and influence of the religion is seen only much later. Like Judaism and Christianity, Islam also preaches monotheistic and the faith center of the Holy Quran. Muslims believe in the 5 pillars of faith. It guides their beliefs and behavior. The 5 pillars is already given there. First one is Shadah, means testimony of faith. Salah, prayer. Swam, means fasting in Ramadan, Zakah, charity, and Hajj means pilgrimage of Makkah. This 5 pillar is a principle and based on the Islamic way of life. During the medieval period, Islamic teachings spread far and wide. Several rulers made special effort to propagate the faith. The Delhi Sultan was an Islamic empire that ruled a large part of India, almost 320 years, over 5 dynasties. That is Mamluk dynasty, Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and Lodhi dynasty. And what is the impact of the Muslim period is, especially Islamic period? During the rule of Akbar, started a religion based on ethical rationalism called Deen-e-Ilahi. It was a synthesis of all religion. And what are the impact of Islam on Indian society is? Social interaction of local people with Christians, Muslims and Jews and led to the convergence. Missionaries were specially known for their educational and social services to all the people. There is no any discriminations with irrespective of their one's identity, sex, caste, creed, community, etc. This social interaction is already done with all the people. Now the next religion is Indian origin religion means Sikhism. Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism and Sikhism is Indian born religion. Sikhism emerged in the 15th century and was founded by Guru Nanak. Like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism to preach the karma theory. Sikhism flourished in Punjab and was largely contained there. It rejected caste-based social hierarchy. It supported equality of all persons for religious worship and other fields of life. The teachings of the Gurus, especially 10 Gurus, constitute the faith of Sikhs and their sacred literature is the Guru Granth Sahib. 5Ks is very famous in Sikhism. It is called in Panch Kankar also, Panch Kakkar. 5K means first one is Kripan, second one Kachera, third one Kesh, fourth one Kara and fifth one Kanga. In sacred text is Guru Granth Sahib. And the teachings of the 10 Gurus is very famous and all the Gurus was done the social reforms in the Sikhs and other Indian society also. Now the next one is Langar. Langar is the Punjabi term of community kitchen which was institutionalized by the founding Gurus during the 16th century. It is a unique symbol of charity and equality, designed to provide a free vegetarian meal to all the people, irrespective of their caste, creed, age, gender or social status. All Sikh Gurudwaras operate langars where volunteers, it is called as sevadars, render courtesy, care and hospitality to all the visitors. Miss Langar is a social service provided by the Sikhism. There is no any discrimination between the human beings. Now the next one is Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement emerged with the need to bring religious reform in Hinduism during the medieval period. It rejected the caste system. It criticized excessive ritualism and advocated simplicity in worship. It professed that all human beings were equal in the eyes of God. The focus was on devotional singing and repetition of His name. namas namasmaran. Namasmaran means the name was given by God, name was given repeated again and again. Now the next one is Sufism is also preach the unity of humanity and believe in the equality of all human beings in the eyes of God. Some important exponents of these are Kabir, Rahim and Guru Nanak. Kabir and Rahim denounce external observance of religion such as rituals, superstitious practices, idolatry and pilgrimage. Guru Nanak decried the caste system, ritualism and idol worship also. And Bhakti movement in Maharashtra, this movement began in 13th century with Jnaneshwar Maharaj. The center of this movement located at the temple of Vithoba in Pandharpur. Sufism, and the next one is Bhakti movement is also done, Sufism is also done, and now the status of women in Indian society. Status of women in Indian society. Religious scriptures as well as historical studies indicates that Indian women enjoy a comparatively high status during the early Vedic period. This is not to be understood as if women enjoyed an equal status with man. Patriarchal value system were in operation then and they still continue to this day. Women during the early Vedic period had access to Vedic education. They were entitled to the Upanyan ceremony, which enabled them to entry into the Gurukul system of education. Women was enjoy all the rights and duties, and they taking education also. But the Rig Vedas render the highest status of qualified women. For example is Upanishadic scholars. Some notable Vedic and Upanishadic women scholars were Apala, Indrani, Ghosha, Lopamudra, Gargi and Maitreyas. Women were considered as a useful and productive member of the society. They could participate in social assemblies. They were also permitted to choose their life partner for marriage. Marriage was considered as a sacrament and was irrevocable, though not compulsory. The main form of marriage was monogamy. There is mention in Anuloma and Pratiloma, marriage into Upanishads. But in the later Vedic period, due to caste system and Brahmanic supremacy, education for girls was stopped. Also the sacrament of Upanayana, this is also stopped. It was replaced with marriage and more so child marriage. Women became doubly oppressed. Since education for girls was stopped, so was there is no any rights, no equal rights with male, no right to property, restricted to household duties, and were barred from attending social assemblies. Subordinate status in the household. The family system continued to be patriarchal and descent was patrilineal. Patrilineal means the linkage through the father, and patriarchal means the power is only for means the head of family is a father, and all the power is given to the fathers only. Women were more rigidly subjected to the three obediences, viz. Father before marriage means independent, the women or girls independent only for male. Father before marriage, husband after marriage, and son after the husband's death. Miss Gautam Dharma Sutra advocated that girls should be married off before attending puberty so as to be ensure purity and chastity. The status of women deteriorated even further in medieval period, medieval India. Invention of Brahminical iron laws were the main cause for this degradation. The freedom of women was curtailed. Knowledge of the scriptures and literacy was denied to them, and her status was reduced to being dependent on man throughout her lifetime. On or before, we are already given example. I am already given example there. Father dependent, then husband, and then their son. The practices of child marriages, sati, parda system, and devdasi system made women the object of exploitation. The patriarchal joint family structure, the custom of polygamy, and early marriage, all these issues contributed to the decline of women's status. Women's status is degraded. Now, the nature of education. Harappan people were educated. All the people are educated. During the early Vedic period, the content of education was based on the sacred literature, which was written in Sanskrit also. To enter Vedic schools, it was prerequisites for students of the first three varnas to perform the Upanan ceremonies. Means Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishyas given education only in Gurukul system. There was an oral traditions of imparting knowledge which was through rote learning. Most scholars hold the view that the art of writing was unknown during the period. The Kshatriyas learned the art of warfare and administration. Vaishyas studied trade and commerce, and Shudras learned agriculture and animal husbandry. And the Brahmins probably stay in the school until they attained the mastery of the four Vedas. But later Vedic period, women were denied access to the education, access to learning. Means women was not given priority, they are not given education to the later Vedic period. The Buddhist system of education was conducted through the Buddhist monasteries. It is called as Vihar also, stups, Vihar. The center of the Buddhist system of learning revolved around the Sangham. Sangham is order. Of monk means bhikkhus, the Buddha permitted the entry of women as nuns means bhikkhunis, just as Vedic culture centered on sacrifices, and Buddhist education and learning revolve around the monasteries. Islamic education during the medieval period is centered on the Quran. The Islamic system of education is open to all followers of the faith irrespective of one's status. Education was imparted in the three ways: maktab, madarsa and khankah. Maktab means primary या elementary education, madarsa higher education, and khankaha theological means religious education. Social life of the people is Harappan civilization was known as the town planning, drainage system and its granary. Means the structure of cities is well planned, well equipped and well managed. The great bath is one of the indicator of the collective life of the people. Thus, there were peasants, artisans, traders, fishermen, priests, administrators, artists, weavers, etc. They were already given their works, and as per their art, they work as per their duties. Sangam literature makes references to tribes and traditional castes. This is indicative of their coexistence. And the Varna system during the Vedic period referred to the social order or class of social people, means Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras. That type of social stratification is already done done in Indian society. Now the next one is ashram system. According to the Hindu mythology, 4 ashrams is given. First one is Brahmacharya ashram, second one is Grahastha ashram, third one is Vanaprastha ashram, and fourth one is Sannyas. Ashram is the stages of life of the people. First stage is started 8 to 25, second 26 to 50, third 51 to 75, and fourth 75 to 100 years. Means the age of people is generally 100 years, and the first stage of the life is Brahmacharya ashram. Before entering into the individual, into life, an individual is expected to go through the initiation rites. It is called as Upanayan Sanskar, and goes to the teacher's house for their education in Gurukul system. Miss Gurus was provided education to the Miss Teacher was provided education to the particular children. Second one is Grahasthashram. After the completion of education, individual enter into the Grahasthashram. He is expected to marry and execute all the duties and purusharthas. Third one is Vanaprasthashram. After the completion of familiar and social responsibilities, Grahastha is expected to get rid of these activities and go to forest for the preparation of the sannyas ashram. And the last stage of ashram is 75 to 100 years. In this ashram, man completely leaves his all the attachments, social, economic, emotional, all attachment leaves and concentrate on the attainment of mokshas. This is based on the caste system also. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras and other untouchable. But those who are Hindus is related to the ashram system also. Hindu teaching showed its follower 4 paths of the realize God and attain moksha. Each path is called as a margs, means route. Jnana marg, knowledge; Bhakti marg, devotion; Raja marg, meditation; and Karma marg, action. This is the path of knowledge, path of devotion, path of meditation, and path of action. The Delhi Sultan was feudal hierarchy that was broadly divided into 4 major groups. First one is aristocrats or nobles, means sultans and their relatives, Hindu Muslims, chieftains, means prime and main people of the head, all these king and head of the people. Second one is priest, ulemas and brahmin. Third one is town people, urban wealthy merchants, traders and artisans. And fourth one is peasants, rural agriculturists who paid taxes to the state. And during this period also a rigid caste system was followed. Just like the caste system, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, same just like the aristocrat and noble, priest, town people and peasants. And the last topic of this PPT is urbanization. Urbanization is a process whereby people upgraded themselves. And you know the ancient urbanization, ancient people, how they developed. Harappa was indeed a well-planned town with a way of life that can be referred to as a first urbanization. Archaeological Survey of India evidence suggests that the city life of the people of Harappa was well developed. Some houses had wells and bathrooms. The city had a well and well developed drainage system. Means the structure of cities, especially Harappa and Mohenjo-daro and other civilized, this is a town, or a town planning is good, well managed and well equipped. Indo-Aryan deforested large areas of land to pave way of agriculture. The period of 500 BC to 200 BCE is considered the period of second urbanization, which brought a large-scale beginning of the town life in the Middle Gangetic Basin. Magadha. Magadha had gained prominence and formed the base of the Mauryan Empire. This was a distinct cultural area with new states arising after 500 BC, and the small Indo-Aryan chieftaincies called Janapadas were consolidated into the largest state is called as Mahajanapadas. 16 monarchies and republics known as Mahajanapadas stretched across the Indo-Gangetic plain from modern-day Afghanistan to the Bengal and Maharashtra. This period saw the second major rise of urbanization in India after the Harappan civilization. These cities became the center of administrations as well as of trade and commerce. This led to the this led to the this led to the this led to the a network of routes for the internal and distinct trade and develop in both eastern and western region. Thank you so much.